My mother-in-law gave me divorce papers at my own birthday party. Your support absolutely lights up my world. Before we dive into today's beautiful story, please hit subscribe. It means everything and helps me share more heartwarming tales with you. Here's my promise. I personally reply to every comment. So drop a note telling me where you're watching from. I genuinely love connecting with each of you amazing souls. Now, let's begin this extraordinary journey together. The 30 candles flickered like tiny sentinels across the chocolate cake, their golden light dancing against the cream-colored walls of the community center. Lisa smoothed her navy dress and surveyed the room. 50 guests mingling beneath strings of elegant white flowers, the air thick with the competing fragrances of Beverly's expensive perfume and the catered salmon. This wasn't the intimate backyard gathering she'd envisioned, but watching Anthony's face glow as he moved between their friends and family, she felt her shoulders relax for the first time in weeks. 3 years of marriage to Anthony had been everything she'd dreamed of. Mornings that began with his terrible coffee and worst jokes, evenings spent reading on opposite ends of their worn leather couch, their feet tangled together in comfortable silence. He was the kind of man who remembered that she liked her eggs slightly runny and never failed to text her good morning, even when work trips separated them. But love, Lisa had learned, sometimes comes with complications, wrapped in cashmere cardigans and wielding perfectly manicured smiles. Beverly. From the moment Anthony had first brought Lisa home, his mother had perfected the art of the surgical slight. While others received warm embraces, Lisa earned a brief nod that felt like an inspection she'd somehow failed. Beverly's questions came wrapped in concern, but delivered like small cuts. "And how are you managing, dear?" The tone suggested charity case rather than beloved daughter-in-law. Lisa had fought back with kindness, homemade snickerdoodles that Beverly would accept with a thin smile before launching into praise for a neighbor's superior baking. Birthday gifts that prompted comparisons to Anthony's thoughtful ex-girlfriend. Compliments about Beverly's pristine garden that were met with critiques of Lisa's neglected flower boxes. Each attempt at connection seemed to drive the wedge deeper. "She's just old-fashioned," Anthony would say when Lisa tried to explain the microaggressions, the way his mother's eyes would narrow when Lisa reached for his hand, the deliberate exclusions from family photos. "She'll come around." Sweet, oblivious Anthony, who somehow missed the dollar store candle with the price tag still attached that Beverly had presented Lisa last Christmas, while everyone else unwrapped thoughtful, expensive gifts. Now, as Lisa watched, "I have something very special for you. I've been saving this for just the right moment." Her heart actually fluttered with hope. Perhaps this was it, the peace offering, the acceptance she'd been craving. Maybe a heartfelt letter or a piece of family jewelry, some tangible symbol that she'd finally earned her place in this family. The room seemed to quiet as Lisa accepted the envelope, her fingers trembling slightly with anticipation. She could feel eyes turning toward them, sensing the significance of the moment. Carefully, almost reverently, she opened the elegant paper. Divorce documents scattered across the polished floor like fallen leaves. For a moment, Lisa's mind couldn't process what she was seeing. The papers were real. Official legal documents with her name and Anthony's printed in cold black ink. She stared down at them, then back up at Beverly, confusion and disbelief written across her features. "Happy birthday, honey," Beverly said, her satisfaction radiating like heat from a flame. "I think it's time for you to set my son free." The silence that followed was suffocating. 50 people frozen in tableau, witnesses to what felt like a public execution. Lisa's face burned with humiliation as she felt the weight of their stares. Some curious, some pitying, some looking away in embarrassment. The whispers began immediately, a rustling sound like wind through dead grass. Anthony materialized beside her, his face drained of color. "Mom, what the hell is this?" Beverly crossed her arms, chin raised in defiance. "I'm giving Lisa the gift of honesty. She's not right for our family, Anthony. She never has been. I'm just saving everyone the trouble of pretending otherwise." Standing there, clutching those papers, surrounded by the debris of her dignity, Lisa felt something crystallize inside her chest. She could run. That's probably what Beverly expected, what she was counting on. She could scream and rage, proving every terrible thing Beverly had ever whispered about her. Or she could choose differently. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her memory. Baby girl, when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. And when they try to break you down in public, you stand up and show everyone who you really are. Lisa bent slowly, gathering the scattered papers with deliberate care. When she straightened, her spine was steel. "Excuse me, everyone," she said, her voice cutting through the whispers with crystalline clarity. "I'd like to say something." The room held its collective breath. "First, I want to thank Beverly for this very illuminating gift," Lisa began, holding up the papers like evidence in a trial. "She's given me something incredibly valuable: clarity." Beverly's triumphant smile flickered. "For 3 years, I have tried to earn this woman's respect and acceptance. I've brought gifts, remembered birthdays, complimented her cooking, asked about her interests, and tried to be the daughter-in-law she wanted. And for 3 years, she has made it clear that nothing I do will ever be good enough." Heads began to nod around the room. Anthony's relatives who had witnessed the subtle warfare, friends who had heard Lisa's frustrated phone calls. "But what Beverly doesn't seem to understand," Lisa continued, her voice growing stronger with each word, "is that I don't actually need her approval to be worthy of love. I don't need her permission to be Anthony's wife, and I certainly don't need her consent to exist in this family." The air conditioning hummed in the silence. "Beverly, you want to know what's really sad about this moment? It's not that you've embarrassed me. It's that you've embarrassed yourself. You've shown everyone here exactly who you are. You're a woman who would ruin her own son's wife's birthday party, humiliate her in front of friends and family, and try to destroy a marriage because you can't let go of control." Beverly's face flushed crimson, her mouth opening to protest, but Lisa wasn't finished. "And you know what the most beautiful part of this whole thing is? These divorce papers aren't worth the paper they're printed on. You can't divorce me from your son. Only he can make that choice. And only I can make that choice. And we choose each other every single day, regardless of what you think about it." Around the room, Lisa saw Anthony's uncle nodding, his cousin's wife wiping away tears, even some of Beverly's friends looking ashamed. "I won't be divorcing Anthony," Lisa said firmly, "but I will be divorcing myself from this toxicity. I'm done trying to win over someone who was never going to accept me anyway. I'm done shrinking myself to make you comfortable, and I'm done allowing you to disrespect me in the name of family peace." She turned to Anthony, who stood watching her with an expression of stunned pride. "Baby, your mother has made it clear that she wants to choose between me and her. So I'm making it easy for everyone. She doesn't have to be around me, and I don't have to be around her. We can love you separately, and you can have relationships with both of us separately. But I'm done pretending that she and I need to get along for your sake." The silence stretched like a held breath. Then, slowly, Anthony's uncle began to clap. The sound seemed to break a spell. His cousin joined in, then more guests, until most of the room was applauding, the sound washing over Lisa like absolution. Beverly's face cycled through shades of rage as she watched her own family members and friends showing support for the woman she'd tried to humiliate. She grabbed her purse with shaking hands and stormed toward the exit, turning back only to hiss, "This isn't over." "Yes, it is," Lisa called back, her voice steady as a bell. "It's been over. I'm just finally accepting that." The party that followed Beverly's dramatic exit felt like a different celebration entirely. Guests approached Lisa throughout the evening, praising her composure and sharing their own stories of Beverly's years of manipulation. Anthony's aunt confessed that the family had been waiting for someone to finally call out Beverly's behavior. His cousin admitted she'd witnessed the bullying for years, but had been too afraid to speak up. But it was Anthony's reaction that mattered most. After the last guest had left, after the tables were cleared and the flowers collected, he wrapped his arms around his wife and held her close. "I am so sorry I didn't protect you from her sooner," he whispered into her hair. "And I am so proud of how you handled that. You were incredible." The weeks and months that followed reshaped their family's entire dynamic. Beverly's attempts to rally support fell flat. Too many people had witnessed her cruelty at the party to buy into her victim narrative. Anthony established firm boundaries. He would maintain a relationship with his mother, but only if she respected his wife and their marriage. Beverly's subsequent manipulation attempts crumbled under the weight of newfound family awareness. Eventually, realizing that her son wouldn't choose her over his wife, Beverly retreated into sullen distance. The space she left behind filled with something stronger than Lisa had expected: a marriage fortified by shared adversity, a partnership that had learned to protect itself from external threats. 6 months after the birthday party, Beverly sent a letter requesting an invitation to their anniversary dinner. Anthony showed Lisa the tentative words, the careful tone of someone testing boundaries. "If she can treat me with basic respect," Lisa told him, "she's welcome. But if she ever tries to undermine us again, she'll be choosing to remove herself from our lives permanently." Beverly came to the dinner. She was polite, not warm, probably never would be, but polite. It was enough. Lisa had learned she didn't need Beverly's love or approval, just her acknowledgement that Anthony and Lisa were adults capable of making their own choices. Looking back, Lisa realized that night had taught her something profound about dignity in the face of cruelty, about the power of refusing to be diminished by someone else's toxicity. Beverly had expected tears and capitulation. Instead, she'd gotten truth delivered with grace, and it had changed everything. Sometimes the most powerful response to someone trying to humiliate you is simply refusing to be humiliated. Sometimes standing in your truth, speaking with clarity, and maintaining your dignity can flip an entire script. And sometimes the people trying to make you feel small reveal far more about themselves than they ever do about you.